All right. We're live. We might be live on Facebook. The whole way Facebook does things these days is just never know if we're live or not. But anyways, for those of you who are here this morning, thank you so much for
Yeah,
hopping on.
we're there.
All right, we made
I'm
it.
live. We're live on my channel too. Awesome. Good
Awesome. We're
morning.
live all over the place. I was playing around with that. That's actually why I'm a few minutes late this morning. Was just really trying to figure that out. It's ever since like the I don't know second or third week of April, Facebook changed the rules with how we can stream, and we kind of had to backdoor it to to make it work. So
Broke right in.
um, yeah, I was able I was able to make it work. Glad to have you all on. Um, our topic today, actually, I just came up with this last night because I have a new agent to train today, and I figured we can knock out part of the training first thing this morning, and then we're going to be meeting up a little bit later this afternoon to kind of go over some more stuff. But I figured, heck, let's kill two birds with one stone. It's a good topic for new agents or even people that are maybe just looking to put a new plan together. People that maybe just don't have a whole lot of guidance. Maybe they are struggling. Having trouble making money. This business works. It's just a matter of figuring out how to do it and sticking with it. So, and yeah, I don't know. I must have set up the wrong link or something. I didn't think I invited everybody to join us in our StreamYard, but maybe I did. So thanks for joining us, Eddie. Uh, so I got Chris with me, as you can see here too. How you doing, Chris?
I'm excited. Since we're live on everything, including real life. It's a fun Monday afternoon.
Yeah, I hear you, boy. It was a long weekend. Kind of glad to get back, into the swing of things, boy. The fourth being on what was it on Thursday? I know a lot of people probably, well, I think people probably took off on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I mean, that's a long 5 days. So, and I worked on Wednesday, and then I kind of took off the rest of the weekend after the fourth, but I mean, by Saturday, I was ready to get back to work. So I'm glad that finally kind of getting back in the swing of things here. So let's go ahead and get started. Um, would you agree, Chris, that a lot of agents out there, those that maybe fail in the business, maybe it was just because they never had a proper plan in place when it came to like putting their business together and putting a strategy together of what was going to work and sticking with it?
Well, failing to plan is planning to fail, as bumper sticker as it sounds, is just simply the truth. And a plan doesn't have to be anything complicated, but a plan also requires the agent to implement it. I think we could put together the best plan in the world, but if all you do is sit here and study it, it was a waste of everybody's time. So I totally agree.
Yeah, and and there's no magic potion. To me, I think it's just a matter of, and we'll be going through a lot of this. A lot of it's just based off of consistency and hard work and money management. We're going to talk about a lot of that stuff. So, but like I said, new agents or even people who are struggling, I think this is something that could definitely help them. So, let's see. So, final expense strategies for fast success. That's one thing too. I think a lot of times the struggle agents have is the fact that they're 1099 for the most part. They need to make money like now. And a lot of times, maybe people don't have a lot of funds available for leads and everything else. Um, but we have programs for that too. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So I'd like to talk about just if you're a new agent, like I said, or if you're struggling, getting your business up and running. And I don't know why I can hear myself, Chris. Do you have your AirPods?
I can only, everything sounds clear over here.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm just echoing, and I don't know if it's your computer or I'm not sure. Let me see. I just muted you. Yeah, see, I muted you, and now I'm fine. So yeah, maybe if you got the AirPods, that would probably help. So, anyways, getting your business up and running, ordering leads, working leads, and preparing to present. So basically, everything from you just got licensed, and then where do I go from here, all the way to the point that you're just about ready to sit down with somebody. And for those of you that were not on last week, I actually went through my presentation that I use and just kind of went over the benefits of having a presentation. So you can go back and watch that. And that's really step two, I guess, after all of these steps is once you're preparing to present, well, the next step would be presenting. So we went through that last week. You can check it out. It should be on my YouTube channel. Not sure if it's on Facebook. I can always add it on Facebook if we need to. So first thing too, when you're just getting going, I know sometimes it can be overwhelming. I think that a lot of times, a lot of these different organizations, they tend to want to contract their agents with 30 different carriers, and that all pretty much do the same thing. And to me, I think that overcomplicates things. It makes it difficult for agents, especially like I said, when you're first getting going, where I think it's hard enough to learn underwriting with one company, let alone 20. So to me, I think it's just about keeping it simple too. You don't need every single carrier out there. Find a go-to that you like working with that pretty much covers most of the bases, and then maybe find a few others after that. But, learn your carriers. Like I said, keep it simple. If you have one company that insures just about everybody, well, that's a good one to lead with. And then maybe two or three other carriers for different underwriting scenarios that you run into. Some of the big niches, I guess you could say, we run into like diabetic neuropathy. Yeah, I must have sent the wrong link out to all. I see another person trying to hop on here.
That's okay.
Why don't you talk to everybody for a minute, Chris? I'm going to see if I can resend this email with the correct link.
Yeah, no, I think when it comes to learning your carriers, because carriers change all the time, and hopefully you can hear me okay. I just switched to my AirPods. My philosophy is not even to get the names of them mixed into the learning process because they're going to change all the time, really. One company should take 85% of your business, whatever that company is, you name it. One company should take that next 10% that the other 85% didn't cover. And then that last company, that final 5% is typically guaranteed issue. You could almost walk away from it, but I wouldn't do that. But it's kind of like a last resort type carrier. And with that 3 carrier kind of mix, that's really all that you need. One primary, fairly priced, easy to issue, pays you competitively, pays you quickly. One company that kind of fills in the gaps of the other one. And a third company in that guaranteed issue modified space if necessary at that. It's just so easy to get confused with a bunch of different companies. I think one of the things I want to compliment Adam on is that he mastered the transition from the single carrier space to the independent space, where so many other successful captive agents have made that transition, failed, and fallen back into a new captive company. I think learning this 2 and 3 carrier setup has mastered the one carrier independent space transition.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, I mean, I've always just been about keeping things simple. I don't feel like you have to have every single carrier out there. And I've done just fine, focusing on just a few this year. I mean, I could count on one hand, honestly, the number of carriers that I've done business with on a pretty consistent basis. There are a few, yeah, I know they want a good mix of business. Unfortunately, sometimes we just send some of our stuff to some places, but, for the most part, if there's a carrier that takes pretty much everybody, like I said, that's a good one to lead with. And then maybe just a few others after that. You don't really need to overcomplicate it. And we'll talk about even like the toolkit, which is a useful tool. You can customize it. You don't have to see every single carrier out there. And sometimes I think people, when they see that, then right away they get confused. Well, I have all these 30 companies, so I guess that means that I got to write the absolute lowest rate if that's the one that makes the most sense. But I don't know. To me, I don't think rates are always everything. Sometimes the cheap, it's like anything out there. Sometimes the cheapest is not the best. So it's like quality over, cheap. So, but yeah, and as time goes on, if you feel the need to add additional carriers, go for it. But when you're first starting out, I'd say keep it simple. Don't overwhelm yourself. It's a lot harder too. I think uh, I don't know, it's motivating to really try to make some of these different company incentives, these different company trips. It's difficult to make a company trip if you're spreading your business out all over the place. So take advantage of your, of the opportunities, I guess you could say, that are out there with the different carriers. Focus on one that you maybe there's a trip that you want to go on. Focus on that carrier. Do what you can to make that trip. Not only will you enjoy, I've been to some places around the world that I would have never been to had I not been in this business. But not only is that a great part of it, but also just the ability to be able to sit down and meet people that are better than you. And I've met a lot of very successful people in a lot of these trips that have really helped me to get better. And I think that's really the key, not just enjoying the trip, but take advantage of who you're with out there and do what you can to, to pick people's brains while you're out there. Makes a lot of sense. So,
Yeah, I've qualified for not probably 4, 5 different trips. One agency wise, agent wise, and you got to go into the home looking to write that product almost every time. Like, I'm not saying skirt ethical lines here, but that is what you're going to write when you're going to write it all the time. When we qualified as an agency, the third largest agency with a carrier trip last year, well, that was all we were talking about. Like, write this company. And it was competitively priced. You could write 85% of your business with it. It fit that niche category, but it's pretty awesome to qualify for a trip. And I can guarantee something too, Adam. If an agent's qualifying for a trip and they're with a good agency like ours, they're going to also be making good money. Like, it's a pretty clear step-by-step progression.
yeah, well, and that's another thing too, though. I mean, I feel like you got to do more than just make the trip. Like, well, if you're spreading, if you're writing more than just the one carrier, I guess that's fine. But I mean, I've seen people too where they make the one trip and they don't have any money to spend on the trip because they just barely made the trip. And I mean, heck, I was in places like Monaco. You got to have some money when you go there. And so, don't just focus on making the trip. Do what you can and do even a little bit more than that. You want to make sure you have some money when you're out there too. Give me 1 second, Chris. I'm sending that link out to everybody. I sent the wrong link this morning.
That's all good. I know you qualified for Monaco. I qualified for a couple different trips with a couple different carriers, and I think what it also does for agents, besides making them a lot of money, giving them somewhere fun to go, it teaches them efficiency in their business. Like, when you're wanting to lead with that one company, helps you get a fast start because you don't have to learn a bunch of different companies and a bunch of different processes. And a lot of these trips, they have persistency requirements. So if you're going to qualify, your business has to be at a certain level. So it also teaches you to service your business and keep that on the books to be able to make the trip. So there's so many different good reasons to do it, just besides making the money, that if you focus on a single carrier like that to help qualify for their trip, it's going to make the rest of your business work a lot better.
Yeah, most definitely. All right. Yeah. Now I'm back on track now. I sent that email out. I just wanted to send people the right link. I don't know. I guess I sent people the guest link. We would have had like a whole bunch of guests on today, but I didn't have enough interview questions set up for all these guests. So, anyways, we're back on track now. So thanks for filling in there for a couple of minutes, Chris. Study the different carriers, products, and the agent's guides. Like I mentioned, toolkits is a very useful tool, especially when I first transitioned over from writing with one company to opening up to more than that. Chris was also helpful. I've been working together with Chris now for a little over a year and a half. But so But when I first started, I mean, he'd even tell you, I used to call him, I used to text him, just asking him more questions and stuff about some of the different carriers and their processes. But I think that's good too. You got to have people like that you're surrounded by, that you're working with, that are willing to help you and that are willing to hop on and when you need them. Sometimes people are tough to get a hold of, but one thing I'd say, Chris, especially when I first got going, I mean, you're one that, unless you're in a house or something, you're usually pretty accessible. And that's important. It's important to be accessible to your agents and doing what you can to help them. But yeah, the toolkits, very useful tool. Like I mentioned, you can plug in as many carriers as you want in there. But the nice thing about toolkits, you plug in like the person's age, their height and weight. You can even plug in like if they have a checking account, or like if it's a credit or debit card, because there's some carriers that only accept that do not accept Direct Express. There's only a slim few that do, but you put that in there, it'll only give you the options for those that accept the Direct Express card, which I think is also useful. So yeah, I mean, I really learned a lot about the underwriting just from toolkits as well. I still use toolkits just because it's easy, but as far as the underwriting goes, unless it's a pretty rare condition, for the most part, I kind of know where to go these days when it comes to those sort of things. But it's definitely helped, and I think it helps even with the learning curve, where having to go through agent guides from 10 different carriers, to me, that's confusing too. Having to go through 10 different paper applications to look over the health questions, that can be confusing too. But toolkits, like I said, it just kind of shortens the learning curve a little bit and just makes things a little bit easier for you. And you pay what? It's like $40 a month. So it's the cost of a lead, and that's it. And I don't even think about it. I don't even miss the money. I mean, I've probably made more because of having the tool than had I not. Without it, maybe not knowing exactly who would have taken the person under certain scenarios. Like I had one a few weeks ago. The lady had current cancer, and I mean, right away, I'm just thinking guaranteed issue that most companies aren't going to take them. I found a carrier that actually would take her, not first day coverage, modified, but I mean, the modified commission is a heck of a lot better than guaranteed issue. And so I went that route. The rate was pretty comparable to the guaranteed issue, might have even been a few dollars cheaper. So like I said, that was just one scenario where usually when I hear current cancer, right away I'm going to be thinking, all right, guaranteed issue. Usually I'd be thinking Great Western. Ever since they're kind of going out of business, I think, what was it, as of July 1st now they're just paying as earned. They're no longer advancing commissions.
Yeah, they are products on the market till the end of August, but it's as earned at this point, and there are other places to place business. I wouldn't be using them right now, even though I loved them for years. But that's
Yeah.
just the perfect example. It showed you that Sentinel Modified would work. It would show you that Royal Arcanum would work. It showed you significantly better options for you, the client, the business, the carrier. I don't know who intends to do this business at anything more than a hobby level and doesn't invest in their business through services like this.
Yeah, most definitely. So yeah, I mean, toolkits has really helped. Like I said, that was just one scenario that, I mean, I wrote the business, and like I said, if I would have wrote it guaranteed issue, I would have took a big commission hit. But writing it modified, I might have lost maybe 20 points, maybe 30. I don't even know with them. I don't pay that close of attention, but I know that it was a lot better than the guaranteed issue. And kind of like I mentioned, where, me and Chris, we talk a lot. When I first kind of made the switch over, I'd be talking to Chris quite a bit, but don't be afraid to contact your upline if you have questions, if you need any help. I mean, I remember my first company that I worked with. People would ask me questions in a home. I wasn't quite sure. And I was calling my manager all the time. And my clients appreciated that, rather than me just sitting there like just guessing or making something up, if I wasn't sure, I would call my manager and be sure I could get my clients the right answer and not just making something up. And same thing. I mean, I probably made a lot of additional sales just because of that, because maybe I didn't know the answer, but I knew somebody that did, and I was going to call and make sure I'd get them the right answer right then and there. So use your manager, use them as a useful tool that can help you even in the sale. I've told my agents, even if they're in a home and they're struggling and they feel like maybe there's something I might be able to do to help them to maybe push forward with the sale. So give me a call, put the client on the line. I'd be happy to talk to them and do what we could to help you. So those are just a few little things. I mean, it's maybe some organizations, maybe their managers or their uplines are really not that accessible, and you feel like you're out there on your own. Well, there's plenty of other options out there too. If presenting in a home and your client has questions, there you go. It's like I've done this before. Call your upline manager. So 4 things that I think are crucial to success. And I've done a longer training with like 25 or 30 different things about having a long-term career. This is just kind of shortened up into the 4 most important, in my opinion. Money management is crucial to your success. I've seen agents that are really, really good at selling, but if they are horrible at managing their money, they don't last long, or they start doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing because they get into like this desperation mode where they got a bill to pay, they got to pay rent, they got to make their car payment, but they have chargebacks with like 3 different carriers, and then they're flipping their business and all this other stuff. It's like, if you do stuff the right way out the gate, you're never going to have to resort to putting your license at risk from doing stuff the way that you're not supposed to be doing it. So money management, number 1, consistently ordering and working leads. I think we've talked about that on maybe almost every training we've ever done. But I mean, it's probably, like I said, top 4 most important things when it comes to long-term success in the business. And I think it might've been the Friday call, Chris, I mentioned like this year, I feel like I've written more business this year, maybe almost ever in the business. Maybe years ago, I had some years I did a little bit better, but being that I had not been out selling for about 6 or 7 years consistently, this is like, the last 12 months, I'd say, is about the last year that I've really been consistent at it. And because I've been consistent with ordering leads, not taking weeks off, always being willing to buy leads and maybe some weeks even buy a little bit more, that's why the production's there. It's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, you buy leads, you're consistent with it, you're going to make sales. Sometimes I think agents, they buy one set of leads and they don't want to order more leads until they work their way through all of those leads.
Mm-hmm.
And
you said sometimes, Adam. It's all the time. I hear this from agents all the time. I get a lot of questions. I'm supporting folks on the toolkit side, especially on the lead platform side. And I say to them all the time, don't just buy a week, buy 6. Like, you're not going to have enough of opinion. You're not going to have enough data. You're not going to have enough routine or consistency. You got to buy 6 weeks of something before you can have an opinion about it. Or I had a guy say, I bought 72 leads from this one vendor and I didn't get a hold of anybody. And I asked him, well, what'd you buy this week? Well, nothing. Well, then the problem, that's the bigger problem. That's it. That's it right there. And then I asked him, what did his upline do to train him? Well, who? Well, there's your next problem. Like, this isn't the leads problem. It isn't a skill problem. It all kind of starts at this level right here. Not buying leads, as exhausting as it is to talk about on an everyday basis, it would be like going to the gym, paying for your membership, and then walking around for 90 minutes and leaving. What are you doing? Like, what is even the point? It would be like deciding to work for Amazon and leaving with an empty truck for the day. What are you doing? Like, if you can't afford leads, let's find a career program where we'll pay for them for you, but don't just fool yourself, because that's really what you're doing by not reinvesting in your business every single week.
And I've seen some agents too, where maybe they do really well out the gate and then they start to struggle. And a lot of it is this point right here that we're talking about, where maybe when they first started, they had that steady flow of leads coming in on a regular basis. And then all of a sudden they slow down on ordering leads. Sometimes maybe I think maybe the commissions come in, they get comfortable. They're happy with the money that they have and they're not pushing forward. But in the end, I think it's like anything else. If you're not consistent, even like running an agency, I've always felt that you have to consistently be recruiting. Like you bring on a few people and you just focus on them. And then if they fall off, well, then you're right back to square one. You always got to have that next person that's kind of in your pipeline. But same thing, you got to be consistent with probably all portions of business or all parts of your business. When it comes to our business, it's the leads. When it comes to the manager side, it's the making sure to have those recruits. But I'm sure any business people would say that they're successful because they're consistent at the most important tasks that they know that they need to be doing on a regular basis.
I think to get a fast start in the business, you have to recognize that to be able to achieve the big things, the small things have to be done first. And the small things include things like what we're going over today. But people have these big six-figure dreams, these multi-six-figure dreams nowadays. It all starts at this foundational level. Adam, you had an agent I connected with a couple of days ago, and I asked him, what's your lead budget? Like, how much can you invest for leads? And they gave me a number, and we came up with, 300 aged leads that they purchased. We set them up with the appointment team. We give them all the resources humanly possible. Now the ball's in their court. Are they going to connect with the appointment team? Are they going to go work the leads? Are they going to reinvest next Friday when I text them? But that's part of the synergy of getting a quick start. Here is a boatload of leads with whatever you could put toward it. Here's the resource to put it to work. Here's the training that supports you. Here's the number to call when you need help. The fast start is like 60% on them if they're going to get out of the gate, right?
Well, yeah. And then, you get those leads this week and then you got to do the same next week and then the week after that and the week after that. Like it's like a broken record. Even like, we have our podcast and stuff like that. That's one thing too, I would say, we've been very consistent with the YouTube channel. The more we're consistent, the more it grows. And that's, to me, it's almost like another business. You're consistent with it and that's what's going to happen. Structure, learning a presentation, that's part of it too. With structure, I would say that comes down to like, and we'll kind of get into some details of it, but like kind of knowing what your week is going to look like, having a set schedule, the days that you're going to work. It's real easy to be overly flexible with a schedule when you're independent. And I've seen that too, where people are not consistent with a schedule, where they're out there maybe one day they write a couple apps and then they're not out there again for a couple days. Like they made a couple sales, they're happy, and then maybe when they're broke again, they decide to go back out and in the field and see what they can do to write some business.
Big end of the week, the end of the month, the rent's due.
Yeah, that's it.
See that all the time.
Yeah, I guess if that's what it takes, spend all your money so you can keep going out and working.
It's just, if you don't have a structure to the schedule, then as soon as any small thing comes your way, then the house blows over. Like if you don't have a routine, a structure, a system, then every little disruption is going to throw you off game. If you do have a good structure and a good routine and a good system, when things happen, because they're going to happen, you don't get knocked off course. And the more this becomes your structure and your routine, your system, and the bigger that wall gets, when more things go your way, it doesn't knock you over. But there's just so many people, you get a phone call from a friend, hey, let's go do this tomorrow. Okay, I was going to go work, but no, oh well. And then that puts them in desperation mode and they can never get the fast start they needed.
And Chris, I spend my Mondays and Fridays like doing stuff like this with the training and just kind of keeping up with things in the office. But so I'm only out in the field Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And like I said, I've had probably my best year so far in personal production, just working 3 days out in the field every week. but it's being consistent with it and having that set schedule on those days that I'm out in the field, and even letting the people around me know, like, this is my schedule. This is what it's going to look like. Don't depend on me Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'm going to be working 9 in the morning till probably 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So those 3 days, I mean, I'm hitting it hard. I'm putting the time in, and I'm consistent with it every single week.
Well, even more to structure, Adam. Not to interrupt.
No, you're okay.
We're putting one of the appointment setters to work on recruiting this week, just to give them some work to do with people on vacation and such. And I said, what days do you want them to set recruiting appointments for you? And you gave me days, a structure, a time, and they're going to put it to work. And it's just using that core structure and then building on it that's going to put you in front of more people. But I just think people need to appreciate the value that structure provides, because that provides you more freedom. Like, you probably got to enjoy this weekend a lot more because of your structure and not the lack thereof.
Well, yeah, most definitely. And, like I said, I mean, I'm, working on building the agency, and that's really why I take that time on Mondays and Fridays. But I mean, there's a lot of guys that could, if they just wanted to personally produce, they could work those 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and just, like I said, hit it hard. Put the hours in, sun up until sundown, pretty much. And I mean, I've had other agents that have done very well just working out in the field 3 days a week. So, I mean, yeah, you could work 5 or 6 days. That's fine. But, I mean, you can get a lot done in those 3 days. But again, it's a matter of work ethic and setting those goals. And, I mean, like I said, I mean, if I worked differently, if I was lazy, if I just didn't put the time in, I'd have to work at least 5 or 6 days a week. So, because when I'm out there, like, I don't even stop for lunch. Like, I was talking to my kids last night at dinner. Like, yeah, I never, in the morning time, I have like a protein shake, and I don't eat anything until I get home at night. So they're like, "Aren't you hungry?" I'm like, "I don't think about eating." So I'm not hungry because I don't think about it. I'm focused on working. So, but that's just me. Learning a presentation,
are you actually a machine? Like, how is that even humanly possible?
Like, learning a presentation, I talked a little bit about that, and you can go back and watch the presentation from last week. But, learning a presentation is important. Having that structure, I just think it helps. It keeps you on track where you're not, let's say that you're sitting down with somebody that just, they butt in a lot. They ask a lot of questions, or they know more about this than you do. You really need to figure out ways to get back on track sometimes, and it's hard to get back on track if you can't get back on track to the topic. I mean, you could be sitting with somebody for like 4 hours because they're just going to keep talking. You got to figure out ways to get back on track. To me, it's just a lot easier to get back on track if you have a presentation that you're working off of, that you're consistently using.
Yeah, I think I had somebody 2 weeks ago that I asked. I said, "I didn't realize you were also a licensed insurance agent. It honestly seems like you're going to be able to help your friend better than me at this point, so I'm going to leave." Like, it just wasn't even worth trying to argue with somebody who thought they knew more than you. But when you have a structured, set presentation, guess what happens? What the person says is predictable because what you say is predictable. What happens next do you control. When they say things, you kind of know that they're coming. It just operates in a singular flow. But when you're just throwing random crap out there, they're going to go throw random crap out to you. Adam, how many brand new agents with no presentation have contacted you from the home and said, "Adam, I was going to close them. I was going to write them, but I need a carrier that's going to help me write a $3 million term policy for that client." They just
it's happened.
Kind of crap. And you know what that was? Is that there was no structure to their presentation and no flow, and they were just throwing stuff out there. So the other person was throwing stuff out there at them, and then nothing happened. And they're like, "Well, as soon as I can get contacted with ABC Term Company, then I can go back and write them because, they told me they needed to think about it, and I told them I would be back." It's kind of heartbreaking,
Well, and that's where, too, I think maybe those scenarios is where the agent is just so focused on just face amounts and rates, and just throwing different face amounts and rates out there. And people hear these commercials on the radio. Uh, I forget the name of them, like Life Insurance Direct or whatever. But like, I got a $3 million term policy for $26 a month. And it's like, yeah, you're 21 years old and it's a 10-year term. Uh, but I think that the client, like if all the agent is doing is throwing face amounts and rates out there, that's what they're going to do. They're going to ask about things like that. These commercials they hear on the radio where you can get all this coverage for very little money. I think there's just so much more to this than just focusing on that. And that's really in my presentation. Like I said, go back and watch it. I focus so much more on just the value and the need, how much they really need to cover what we're there to talk about, to cover their final expenses. Most of our clients, that's really all they're looking for, just enough to cover those expenses, maybe leave a little bit behind to the family. But yeah, if someone, I don't know, I can't remember the last time someone even brought something like that up to me in a home, asking about these huge policies, because we're just not even there to talk about that. It's
No,
never
it's
even
just
brought up in discussion.
you're giving them a firm, predictable, repeatable presentation, and there's no room for other random things to come up in the conversation. And we've got so much presentation content, there's no need to teach the presentation in this episode, but watch the videos. Like I've put step 1 through 10 out there. You've put your presentation out there almost on a quarterly basis. But don't be a student of the business. The best way to learn the presentation, Adam, is to go do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I would recommend, you can even, I think I even have a recording of it on the podcast or the YouTube channel. And that's what I did. When I first wanted to learn a presentation, I found someone that had a presentation that I liked. I would just listen to it in the car while I was driving around. And the more I listened to it, the better I got at it. So that's what I would recommend. I mean, you can get on my YouTube or the podcast, and you can find that. And while you're driving around, listen to it. The more you listen to it, you'll pick up on it. If you want the script, let me know. I'd be happy to email it to you. Just shoot me an email, or you could even go to unitylifegroup.com/careers and shoot over an inquiry, and I can send that over to you. Moving forward here, work ethic. I mean, I could talk all day about work ethic. Like I said, I mean, when I go out and work, I go out and work. I don't, if I'm out there working, like why not give it 110%? Like when I'm out there, I want to get as much accomplished as possible. But step 1 is getting up and getting out of bed. And, step 2 is leaving your house. And for me, the one thing that has really helped me this year is having the appointment setters. And I make sure, like, I always want to have that 9 a.m. appointment set. If they set me up that 9 a.m. appointment, that means that I'm out of the house usually by 8 or 8:30 in the morning. And even if my first appointment's not home, I'm already out there. I already got a whole bunch of leads. I got like 700 leads that can be worked right now that are all within driving distance of one another. So I mean, I have plenty of people to see. And so even if that appointment's not there, I mean, I'm going to have someone right down the street that I can go catch up with. But it gets me out of the house and keeps me, and then and then a 6 o'clock appointment. Actually, last week I had a 9 a.m., a 10 a.m., and then I didn't have another appointment set until like 5 o'clock at night. And then I had a 6 o'clock. But I had all those leads that I could door knock in between. So yeah, it kept me out there. Like me, I don't need that. I'm going to stay out there anyways. Even if I didn't have a 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock appointment, I still would have just been out there the whole day and would have been door knocking leads. But if you need that sort of structure, set up the appointments and make sure to always have that early appointment set and the late appointment set. And that will definitely help.
Yeah, I just think that you can't teach somebody work ethic, but you can definitely teach them the value and the importance of getting yourself some additional structure, like our appointment team, all the feedback we've gotten from agents that have used it before. It wasn't, man, they knew exactly what it was when I got there. They usually do. Man, the show ratio is incredible. It usually is. The feedback we get most often from using the appointment team is it just gave me more structure to my day. It got me out the door on time. I dialed into the call. I went to the field. I got to my first appointment, and it got me out there to stay later. And even if I was setting my own appointments, which I don't have the human time to do anymore, I would focus on setting my last appointment first, my first appointment second, and then I would build out the middle of the day, because you got to have some reason to get out the door. I mean, dropping kids off to school, getting on our conference call, getting to the appointment. Just give yourself a reason to be there, and then hold yourself to that, because once half the battle is getting out your own door, and the rest is just getting into somebody else's.
Yeah, well, like I've said too, it's not the appointment setter's job to make the sale for me. It's to get me in front of the people. I've had days where the appointments are there. I don't get anywhere with the people, but you know what? I got those out of the way sooner. I can pull those out of the pile, the stack of leads a little bit sooner now. Where had I not had the appointments that I would have been continuing to try to catch up with that person. So yeah, it gets me in front of the people faster. And like I said, it's just a matter of being consistent with having that steady lead flow, so they have new people to call every week. And then let's see here. So yeah, like I said, money management, setting money aside is crucial if you want to have long-term success in the business. Because again, broken record, we got to have that constant flow of leads. Well, you got to have money if you want leads, unless, like Chris said, we do have a free lead program too. We can maybe get into a little bit more detail about that in a bit here. But what I would recommend is, if you're not great at managing your money, open up a separate bank account. Call it your leads account. I would recommend an account like a checking account where you would have like maybe a separate debit card for that account. And it would be good if it's the same bank as any other account that you have. That way it's easy to transfer money over. But transfer 30% of every deposit into the leads account. And, the reason I say 30%, you're better off to have more than enough money in that account than not enough. And because you want to be able to place those lead orders every week. If you have a slow week and you don't make a lot of sales, well, at least, you're putting 30% away. You should still have enough in there to at least cover a good portion of the lead order every week. But yeah, use that money to place leads every week. It's as simple as that. But you got to remember, it takes money to make money. You have to invest more of your own money the first few weeks. Now, if you don't have money for leads, work your warm market. Do whatever it takes to write business. Warm market, fast start. If you're brand new to the business, reach out to people that you know. People are willing to help you. Put a list together of 15 people that you know, at least 15 people. It's easy to think of 15 people. You could go through your Facebook friends. You could go through the contacts on your phone. But put together a list of 15 people that you know and contact them. Let them know about what you're doing now. Let them know about your career and ask them if you can come by. Just tell them you wanted to practice your presentation. My company wants me to practice presenting to 15 people that I know to make sure I'm confident and ready to start selling to everyone. Would you be available for about 15 to 20 minutes tomorrow so I can come by and practice my presentation with you? Honestly, it's probably a good thing to do anyways. I mean, the more you can practice a presentation in front of somebody, the better you're going to get. If it's somebody that you know, if you're stumbling around on your words and things like that, they're not going to care. But yeah, it'll help you get better anyways. But there's a good chance that your warm market people that you know are people that actually need this too. So it's a good way to get started because there's a good chance that you're going to be able to make some sales that way. You make some sales, what's that going to do? That's going to give you some commissions. What are those commissions good for? Well, great way to invest into your business and be able to get those leads going every week. It's low pressure. quote and try to write a policy on them, like I said. And if they aren't in need, you can always ask for referrals. Just let them know how much referrals will really help, being that you're just getting started. And, that's another training we probably should do sometime, just focusing on referrals, because I don't think anybody really asks for enough of them. But if you could write even one referral every week, I mean, you could end up making another $35,000 to $50,000 a year just by asking for those referrals and writing one a week. Set a goal on this fast start of writing $3,000 to $5,000 in annualized premium. And this is in 1 week. And I think it's very doable from people that that, people that maybe are in the same scenario as you, or just people that you might know that maybe are older. Again, we kind of focus on with final expense, like the middle to low income, ages 50 and above for the most part. So that would be a good place to start. People that that would be maybe, if you're younger, maybe friends of yours, parents, their relatives, things like that. Cold door knocking is another way when you don't have much to get going. I've always said, cold door knocking's hard, but being broke is harder. So there's ways to do this. And I mean, I've cold door knocked. I remember when I was over financing leads, the first company I was with, I picked out a neighborhood where I knew I already had a bunch of leads, and I just started knocking doors. And heck, all it took was one sale to kind of get me back into the positive. So it works. Practice doing neighborhood enrollments. That's what I call them when I go to the door. I've been assigned to do a neighborhood enrollment for a state-approved final expense program. It takes about 5 minutes to see if you qualify for up to $50,000 to cover your burial expenses. The best areas would be areas that, like I said, middle to low income. If the houses are close together, that definitely helps because, well, time is money. I mean, there's one area by me I know of, about 45 minutes from here, but I mean, we're talking the houses are like probably 10 feet apart, where, I mean, you can really knock out a whole lot in even an hour. You could, if you don't catch people at home, you could probably knock out that whole block in an hour. So, don't be afraid. I mean, and it's so funny, you would think that it would be more negative than positive, but for me, it's usually been more of a positive experience and more people appreciative of me coming by. I'd also recommend to maybe even get on like Vistaprint. You can even order like door hangers. I don't leave door hangers on my leads, but I mean, you could put together like your own little ad. And if you're cold door knocking, people aren't home, leave a little door knocker, and that's going to create a lead out of it if the person decides to call you or respond to something. You look like you want to say something, Chris.
Yeah, I've been door knocked several times, and I don't live in the hood. Thankfully, worked hard, put myself in a different situation, but there's still people that door knock in my neighborhood. It's typically like a contractor doing some type of repair, and they send somebody on the team to ask all the other houses, do you want this type of contracting work done? And what's the harm in that? They're already there anyway. A couple weeks ago, I got door knocked by somebody selling school. I swear to God, they're probably encyclopedias. But I wanted to put myself in a sales scenario, so I opened the door. I stood there and listened to his pitch. And hey, I bought from him just because he had the balls to go out there and door knock this neighborhood. I don't know if that's going to work the same way in final expense, but if you help somebody, here, why not ask the neighbor across the street who's already on the porch, who they have, helping them with their insurance and their benefits. Even if you need a prop, you can take a lead card. We can get you a blank lead, a data lead perhaps, and you could carry the lead to the door. Hey, you got one of these in the mail. We didn't get yours back yet, but I'm in the area to make sure you get your information. I've done that before. It's just brute force effort to work your way through this fast start that's important. The leads, we got one of your agents, Adam, 247 leads. They're a step above data leads. It's a step above cold door knocking. These leads are older than some of our kids, but it gets them out the door and it gets them in front of people. And if she goes out and works them, you think she can make $300 back from 247 leads?
Oh, for sure. I mean, my one agent, he's been ordering aged leads from us for a few months now, at least a few months. And yeah, he called me last week. I know you talked to him too, and asked me, do you have any more of those leads you can get me for $5 a piece? Like he's writing, and he was hesitant at first. When I told him, well, I don't really have any new leads in your area. I have older stuff I can get you, and we'll discount them. We'll get them to you for $5 a lead. And he was a little hesitant. And then he was like, sure, I'll go ahead and try it. And now he's writing a boatload of business off of these aged leads, going out and door knocking them. And he keeps asking for more. Like I don't even remember the last time he asked me for new leads. Like now he's just, you got any more of those $5 leads? Like he's doing well on the older leads. But, talking about the cold door knocking, I actually had one a couple weeks ago where I'm knocking on the door of this lead, and this lady's just sitting like right outside her garage in like a little lawn chair with her dog hanging out next to her. And the lead wasn't home. I'd already knocked it a few times. And I figured, well, what the heck? I'm going to go over and talk to this lady. And yeah, I just went over her and I just said, hey, have you seen Susie lately? I've been trying to get a hold of her. She filled this lead card out. She sent this back requesting some information. This is about like a state approved plan to help cover her final expenses. And then the lady, oh, my son, he just died about a year ago. Yeah, it was really tough. Died in a car accident. He wasn't prepared. We had to pay to get him buried and everything else. And like, wow, this is going to be an easy one. Ended up writing this lady, the lady that it wasn't even a lead. And it was like $90 a month. It was a good sale. Where I think a lot of agents that lead wouldn't have been home. They would have went right back to their car. They would have made no effort to go and talk to the person next door. I just went over there to ask about the lady, struck up some conversation, and ended up writing her. So just again, about doing maybe just a little bit of extra too is going to help. And I mean, like I said, that was one sale, $90 a month. I don't even know if I wrote anything else that day. So I could have went home with nothing. Or no, I wrote one other one that day. But still, it was like, I think it was like 7:30 at night when I went over and talked to this lady. So it was a late night. I think I got home after 9 o'clock at night, but heck, it was worth it. Made that extra sale for $90 a month. That's a pretty good commission. So let's see, where were we here? And this was kind of like what I just said, the script. Hi. And this is like if you're just cold door knocking up and down the street. Hi, my name is Adam Bersan, and I'm a benefits coordinator licensed with the state of Illinois. I've been assigned to do a neighborhood enrollment for a state-approved final expense program that will pay your family up to $50,000 in the event of your death to cover all funeral expenses. I just need about 5 minutes of your time to see if you'll qualify. Can I come in? And it's as simple as that. They're going to either tell you yes or no. If they tell you no, well, do you know anybody else that could be in need of this? This is important. And, that's what I'm assigned to do, is to help other people in the area to make sure their families relieved from that burden. They'll maybe give you some names, maybe they won't. Move on to the next. Or like I said, if you have like a door, like I said, like a door hanger, you could hand that to the person and just say, hey, if you run into anybody who could use this, give this to them. I'd be happy to help them, and just move on to the next. You can even cold door knock with a list shack, Facebook aged leads, aged direct mail leads is another option. Like we've been talking about, we have options where we can get agents aged leads for as little as like 75 cents a lead. So again, you're going to be putting in more time when it comes to working leads that are a little bit older. But if you don't have money for new leads, that's a good way to at least get started and put you in front of some people. And even if you're brand new and you're just kind of getting going and you're still kind of learning your presentation, it doesn't hurt as bad getting shut down on a 75-cent lead compared to a $40 lead. So, not a bad way to get going is by working some of the aged leads. And my opinion on aged leads is that people fill stuff out all the time. They don't know if it's something they filled out last week or 5 years ago. So treat it like a new lead. Don't treat it like something that they just, or, don't treat it like they sent it in 5 years ago or 3 years ago. Treat it as though they just sent it in last week. And
And
because there's a
the
good
strategic
possibility that they did.
The real advantage too with working a boatload of aged leads, and I lived this experience, is that you stop caring when they said no. Like it doesn't matter to you. You actually want them to say no so you can put yourself in front of somebody you can have a good conversation with. And that's the cool part about it. Adam, the first time I ever bought aged leads on top of my lead order was the first week I ever wrote over 7,000 in premium. Relatively new to the business, probably the first 6 to 9 months. But I just had so many leads in my hand. I just wanted to talk to someone that wanted to talk to me. When they said no, ripped it up, throw it out. Next one.
Yeah. Well, and I've seen organizations that'll start people on aged leads, and they do that because they know that they're going to work. They know that there's still business there to be written. Unfortunately, there's people maybe who take leads that either don't take them, or maybe they just didn't make any sales because they didn't work them right. They weren't trained properly. Maybe they're a bunch of direct mail leads and all they did was call them. And if they couldn't get the person on the phone, then they just said, oh, that's a bad lead. Well, if, like I've said, there's so many people that if they don't answer the phone, well, part of the job, you got to go out there and knock it. And that's where, if people aren't doing that, they're probably throwing a lot of money away. And that's where, I'll take some aged leads because, in my opinion, unfortunately, I think there probably are a lot of people that maybe had the leads first that didn't work them right. But now that gives me the opportunity to work that lead the right way at a significantly discounted price. So let's see here. I want to kind of get moving here, man. We're an hour in. I got to speed up. So yeah, this is just a plan for consistent success. Your first 4 weeks, I would recommend, and if you have the age leads, that could be a way to definitely speed the process up where you're not spending a boatload of money out the gate. I think the best way though, like if you have the funds available, even if you have to put it on a credit card, Facebook leads, you can order them and usually within a few days, the leads are coming in. So, order 30 Facebook leads. That's for right now. That's for like this week or next week. And then if you're ordering 20 direct mail leads, well, that's for like week 5. You're planning like a month out. So, and that's just the way direct mail works. There's a turnaround time on those. So I think direct mail is the best lead and it's the best way to go. And it really, you can build up that inventory like I have with, like I said, right now I have like 700 direct mail leads that have yet to get a yes or no disposition on them. That when I'm in an area, I have plenty of people to see. It's a great situation to have. But even when I first got back into personally producing a year ago, this is exactly what I did. I had to order the Facebook leads for right now. And then I had to order the direct mail that I knew would be coming in about a month or so. The Facebook leads, someone's asking about Facebook leads. I like using the toolkit leads and the insurance toolkit Facebook leads. They range at, I think, like if you're running a local campaign, I think they run anywhere from $20 to $35 a lead. I work the $35 ones, the platinum. I know going in that they're going to take a little bit longer to come in, but the quality, they have a lot of different points on them when it comes to questions that they ask. I've done really well on them. I think they're just as good as a direct mail lead, but like I said, it's not the sort of lead that you're going to place an order for 30 leads and within like 6 hours, you have 30 leads coming back to you. Now, my opinion on that, though, if you're placing a lead order with a vendor and if within 5 or 6 hours, you already have all of your leads, like 25 or 30 leads, that's got to be a pretty generic ad. Like sometimes I think people are just clicking on stuff and they don't even realize what they're clicking. And And that's where agents go out and they work the leads and are like, what the heck? I could have just cold door knocked. Like, this isn't a lead.
Yeah, I could
But
guarantee, Adam,
yeah,
not to interrupt, but speaking with the lead team and some firsthand experience I never thought I'd have, is that when we're trying to dial in like how quickly we can get response, but measure in how intent of a lead you want, the lead team from Toolkit guarantees that you can get leads that quick, like you're describing. If you're talking about free government benefit crap, bait leads, low intent, quick click, that kind of stuff. And what a lot of other lead vendors do that they don't disclose is they might have campaigns running all across the country and they're just pre-filling your order with stuff they already have available. Like I just sent out leads to an agent that were their leads that I had ready for them. But if I was just mass mailing and just sending out random Facebook leads, that's kind of what was happening. So, or even worse, Adam, some of those lead vendors, they're reselling campaigns in the background without telling you. So on a Toolkit lead, not to get too commercial with you, they're your campaign's your campaign. The express lead comes in quick because it's a quicker click ad. The platinum lead where they have to put in everything but their freaking social security number, it takes a little bit longer, but that's because it's a more high intent, closest to direct mail kind of marketing you can get.
Yeah. Like I said, very high intent. Now the reason you got to focus on direct mail, like I said, Facebook, it's a good tool. It's a great way to kind of get up and running quickly. Well, direct mail, you can order those leads by zip code in most areas. What that means, like I said, right now I have like 700 direct mail leads that are all probably within about a 5-mile radius of one another. Where Facebook, I mean, you're going to do a Facebook campaign and they're spread out all over the place. So to me, time is money. The quality of the Facebook are very good, but I'm not able to get in front of nearly as many people because of the fact that I'm doing a lot more driving and a lot less time sitting in front of people. So as good as the Facebook leads are, I think the direct mail, it's putting me in front of more people because of the fact that, I mean, I have leads that are like a minute, 2 minutes apart from one another. So that's where Facebook is a good way to start. You got to know going in, well, you're going to be doing a little bit more driving distance wise from one lead to the next. But after that first 3 or 4 weeks, when the direct mail start coming in, then you really don't need the Facebook leads. Or if anything, you could supplement your direct mail with the Facebook leads as even like maybe just like an added bonus just to have a few extras. Maybe if you're out working 3 or 4 days a week, maybe focus 2 or 3 days on the direct mail that are all within that one area. And then the other day you could set up those appointments knowing that it's going to take a little bit more time to get from one to the next. But yeah, they're good leads. Like I said, that's really the main reason I haven't been ordering them is because I have so many direct mail to keep me busy all within that one area. So, so first 3 weeks, like I mentioned, order 30 Facebook leads, 20 direct mail leads. After the first 3 weeks, well, your leads for weeks 5, 6, 7, 8 should be coming in by now. The direct mail. So then you just need to focus on ordering more direct mail. So then every single week from there on out, as long as you're consistent, you're going to always have new direct mail leads coming into you. If anything in time, you could increase your lead order to maybe 25 a week or to 30 a week. I probably work on average, I'd say at least 30 a week. And 30 a week, but the return on the investment's pretty good. I mean, I'd say I probably average around 4,000 to 6,000 on average in premium within those 3 days out in the field. Some weeks lower, some weeks higher. I mean, I've had weeks that I've written 3,000, but I've also had weeks where I've written 8,000 to 10,000. So you just never really know what you're going to run into. But again, it's all about just having that steady flow of leads on a regular basis and being willing to bet on yourself, being willing to invest into your business. Any business out there, you got to invest into your business. I've used the analogy before. If I was opening up a little shop on the corner, a little convenience store, if I don't buy product to put on the shelves, well, who's going to come into the store? There's going to be nothing for them to buy. Well, you got to buy the product to put on the shelves. They're not the companies. They don't throw product on the shelves for you and say, let's hope people buy it. Like, it's the same sort of thing. You got to be able to be willing to invest into your business and know going in that you're going to make sales and have that positive mindset of just knowing that you're going to make money. You're going to make sales. The chances of completely failing on an order of leads are so slim. Like, worst case scenario, I would say you should at least make your money back. So then real quick, appointment setting tips. We're just about done. I know we went a little bit over today, but that's okay. I recommend use first names only. It sounds a lot less telemarkety than if you say, hi, is Mrs. Jones in? Like, right away, you sound like a telemarketer. So I always use first names only and make calls every day, even on Sunday. And I think the best time to make those calls is at nighttime, from 8 to 9 o'clock at night. No earlier. The reason I say that, I just like to be a little bit different than other people out there. And I mean, what's going on during the day? People, yeah, they're busy. A lot of times when people call, they're hanging up. But at 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock at night, they're usually just kicking back. They're relaxed. They're watching TV. During the day, maybe they're watching their grandkids. They just don't have a lot of patience when they pick up the phone because they got a kid, pulling on their leg and stuff. They don't have that in the evening. The parents maybe came by to pick up the grandkids. Dinner's over. Like I said, they're kind of kicking back and they're relaxed. And usually telemarketers are not calling them at 8 o'clock at night. So that's what I would recommend. If you're calling to set up your own appointments, call from 8 to 9 o'clock at night, no earlier, and try to set those appointments from 10 to 6 o'clock at night. The reason I can do it from 9 to 6 is because I have the appointment setters that do it for me. But if I was doing it myself, I would have the first one at 10. So that way the next morning I can call in the morning to try to set up appointments for the same day. So you could call in the morning, even on the way to your first appointment, and you call people, let them know that you're going to be in the area that day. And it's going to take about maybe 5 or 10 minutes to come by to bring them the information that they requested. And if you get rejected over the phone, I always plan on stopping by 2 days later. Yeah. What's that, Chris?
Just knock it. Like, they're not going to remember that you called, and a lead isn't worked until it's been called, door knocked, texted, delivery stickered, voicemailed, backdoor checked. Like, work the leads. So many people, I called it, they didn't answer, the lead was no good. Like, that's crap. Come on.
Oh man, so many times. I mean, when I used to call to try to set up appointments, I would call, no, I don't want anybody coming by my house. No, don't even think about coming by. 2 days later, I'm showing up and they're like the nicest person in the world. Like, they don't even realize I'm the same person that they talk to on the phone. So it's just, so much of it is mindset, and it's a game. It's a game, and I'm going to do what I can to win the game. And if I buy into them rejecting me over the phone, then they just beat me. So they got to tell me no if they tell me no over the phone, they got to tell me no to my face, or vice versa. If I door knock that lead and I can't get anywhere with them, I'm going to give them a call in a couple days. Maybe I can get somewhere with them over the phone these days. Heck, the luxury of telesales, even if they shut you down over the phone, maybe they're just prefer doing it over the phone. Not many people do. Most people prefer sitting face to face, I think. But it works both ways. But 2 days later, use the other method to try to get in touch with the person. Just one quick example of a direct mail lead. This is your typical direct mail lead. Need a Lead, I'd say, is a good source. I've been using Need a Lead for years, and always had good success with them. I like the fact that if you're ordering directly from them, they'll actually send you the hard copy of the lead in the mail, so you can show the person the hard copy of the lead card at the door. It's not totally necessary. I don't do it anymore. I just use my iPad, and I just have copies of the leads right on my iPad, and I just show them the lead right on the iPad. It helps me to stay better organized, and I can do searches for leads that way, where I could plug in a name of a town or a city, and it's right on my iPad. It's going to show me all the leads that are within that area that I have. So I prefer the iPad just for that purpose. But anyways, this is just your typical direct mail lead. You may qualify for a state regulated program to pay for your final expenses. It is important that how to qualify for this life insurance plan, a benefit available to you. The benefit will pay 100% of all funeral expenses up to $35,000. It's a tax-free, for Illinois residents. Please send this card back. Pretty basic, pretty straightforward. This is your typical final expense lead. Some might not say life insurance on them. I've never really noticed much of a difference between the two. Some agents are adamant about having to have the word life insurance on their lead. I don't feel like it really makes a whole lot of a difference. You will get more leads back on leads that don't say life insurance, but again, it's just a matter of learning how to work the lead. And that's where we can help you and teach and show you what works and what doesn't. I've never had issues with, the different types of direct mail lead cards out there. But like I said, this is just one example of a lead. Real quick phone script. Hello, Mary. My name is Adam Brisson. I'm a state licensed underwriter calling about the yellow request card I received back from you that you had just sent in. I just needed to verify a few things real quick. You put that you are 72 years old or 72 years young. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And I have your address at 1050 Park Lane. Is that correct?
Still is.
Wonderful. Well, great. And I know that your phone number is blah, 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 because I wouldn't be speaking to you right now. Usually they laugh. I'm going to be in your area tomorrow to go over your benefits. And I just need to come by I just need to see if 10 a.m. works for you.
So I'll be up. Perfect time. I'll have my checkbook ready for you.
Yeah, that's it. And if they say no, then suggest another time. Okay, well, I have another opening at 2:30. Is that better? Oh, great. Okay, great. It will only take a few minutes to go over what you qualify for and take care of you. Is your address a house or an apartment? Just little things that are going to make your job easier. Just so you know, it's me. I'll have my state ID badge with me, and I'm, whatever you look like. So I'm easy to spot. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow at what time again? I'll always ask them.
10 a.m.
So then they tell me the time. Great. Have a great day. It's simple. It's easy. I mean, I can send you the script too. Like I said, shoot me an email, info@adambrisson.com, or get on the Unity Life Group website and shoot over an inquiry. I can send you the scripts and that. Tips to help you the most to get the most out of the field. Having a mapping program. InRoute is the one I use. I know there's other ones out there. Like Road Warrior, I think, is one. I use InRoute. It's like $5 a month. And I mean, I can put up to like over 100 leads in at one time if I want to. And it'll put the leads in the best order for the best route. Notability or Good Notes. I think, Chris, you use Notability. I use Good Notes. They're both very comparable. But like I put all of my leads right in there, and that's where I can search for the leads. I can drag them into different folders. Like if the person's not interested, I can't get anywhere with them, I can pull that one out of my main leads. If the person, maybe they bought a policy, I can put them into the sold policies. And then that way and then there's even like the colors of the pins, where if I make a sale, I'll change the color of the pin on the map to green, and I'll put their information in there. And then that way, if I'm working a route and I see a green pin, if I got a few minutes, I can always swing by and, stop by, see how they're doing, and maybe even get some referrals or add additional coverage. So, but yeah, put the leads in order to optimize the route. And just begin your route. Like I said, usually I have the appointment set, but I usually put a route together even the night before. So if I don't have, if I have a no-show, I can always go back. And, that's what I do. If I have a no-show, I'll go back and put a route together, and I already got my route all set up. So, and then that'll give me something to do until my next appointment. If you're late to your next appointment, doesn't matter. Your appointments, they're more than likely going to be home anyways. don't hold up your day because you have an appointment in 90 minutes. Work some more leads, put another route together. I'll work a route probably up until about 15 or 20 minutes before that appointment. And then if anything, I'll just show up at that appointment early. And if I get in a house prior to that, then yeah, I'm going to show up a little bit late. Very seldom are they ticked off that I'm late. Most of the time, they don't even realize it. So, if the lead's not home, make a note on the back of the lead card, or like I said, in Notability or Good Notes, you can make notes right on there. And I think it's good to put them into different sections too. Your AM leads, your night and weekend leads. So same thing, I can do that in the Notability. If I have a bunch of people that I know the best time to reach them is after 5 o'clock at night, I can move them into a separate folder. And then that way I have that route of people that I know I'll have a good chance of catching up with in the evening time. So just a few little tips there. I'm trying to breeze through this. We went longer than I thought, but I guess that just happens sometimes. For new agents, what to wear, business casual. Keep the client comfortable. Don't look intimidating. Like if you don't need to be wearing a suit and tie, you'd look like a detective showing up or something. They might not answer the door. You just got to look comfortable. I mean, I wear like the shirt I'm wearing today. This is like what I wear out in the field. I wear a golf shirt and golf pants with like some dress shoes. And that's really it. In the wintertime, same thing. I mean, maybe in the wintertime, I might wear a sweater and jeans. And I don't have any issues. So, keep the client comfortable. What to take up to the door. This should be pretty self-explanatory. Anything you need to sell a final expense policy. Only reason I put that on there, I had someone tell me once they go up to the house with their car door left open and their car running. Like they're just there to stop by and say hi. And I'm thinking, why would you do that? Or, you do have time now? Okay, let me go back to my car and get my stuff. Like, to me, it's like if someone did that at my house, I would be like, what's this joker doing? They go back to their car, I'm shutting the door and locking it, and I'm not letting them in my house. So, yeah, just anything that you need to write a policy. Pretty simple and easy. I mean, I have, I just have like this Padfolio here. I have a folder here that's got different brochures and planning guides that I keep right in the Padfolio, and then my iPad fits right in here. That's all I need. My iPad. I mean, heck, you can do all the different e-apps on there. Throw some business cards in there, and that's pretty much it. When you get to the door, hi, Mary, I'm Adam. I'm a state licensed underwriter, and I have your request you sent in to us a little while back. Point to the lead card. I have a little time before my next appointment. It should take about 10 minutes. May I come in? That's as simple as that. Like, you don't need to over-explain yourself. You show them the card, they filled it out. They might ask you what it's about. Then you can, give a real brief description, but I like to keep it straight and to the point. I'm a state licensed underwriter. I have your request you sent in, show them the request card. I have a little time before my next appointment. It should take about 10 minutes. Can I come in? Simple and easy. For future trainings, check out adambersan.com. You can sign up, and I'll add you to the list. So you will receive a link, hopefully the correct link next week. But you know what, Chris, I got you some more views on YouTube today. So, because I ended up sending out your YouTube links. So people got over to the YouTube. If you went over to the Insurance Life and Everything in Between YouTube channel today to watch the training, subscribe. And you'll notice we got a whole bunch of additional content on there too. A lot of our different podcast episodes. I've been following behind. I got to catch up with that this week and throw some new video content on there. So that's on my list of to-dos for the week to add some content on there. And then Unity Life Group, check us out. Join our team. We have a lead program, never run out of people to see. Like Chris mentioned earlier too, a free lead program for people. We talk about money management. If you don't have much money right now to manage, well, we can put you in front of more people where you don't have to invest your own money, even in the leads and appointment setting. We have appointment setting services. You can either pay for that stuff outright, or we're willing to invest into the right people that are willing to, kind of buy into everything that we are teaching them and showing them and are willing to kind of follow a system that works. You know, we got good commissions for those agents out there. You know, we have plans, you know, with companies where you write a piece of business, the next day you're getting paid. Easy to get that money into your hands pretty quickly, especially for new agents that need to make money and they don't have 2 to 3 weeks to wait around to get paid a commission. So, you know, a lot of good opportunity here. Feel free to check out unitylightgroup.com and, you know, set up an inquiry. I'd be more than happy to set up a call with you. And then my own YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/c/Adam Brisson. You can check out majority of these trainings are on there as well. So you can go back and watch them later. I know we went a little bit long today. So if you had to cut off early, you can always go back, or maybe you hopped on late. You go back and watch the beginning later. So thanks again. There's my contact info. And thanks again, Chris, for hopping on as well this morning. I think it's a pretty good topic. Like I said, you know, just doing our best to try to get people up and running that maybe have not got the guidance in the past that they needed, or maybe they're just getting licensed or had just gotten licensed and just kind of need to put a plan in place. So hopefully that information was helpful, all of you out there. I hope you all have a great week, and look forward to seeing you again next Monday, same time, same place. Take care.